Welcome, I'm Julie, and I'm going to teach you today how to make these little earrings that I call ear tangles because they're like little tags, but they're dangly earrings. We're going to be using the Shrinkets molds and pastels and inks and stencils on this piece with some stringing for assembly and a gold-plated ear wire. So I'm going to go through the supplies that are in your kit. Your kit will have inks, and there'll be enough to do other projects with this. So you're going to have your inks and a dauber. And then you're going to have a template in here. You're going to have pre-cut shapes, but you're also going to have a template in here if you want to make later on yourself another piece. Like you might want to make a matching necklace out of this, of which you would just do what I've done, but instead of the ear wire on here, you would attach something like a simple beaded necklace here. I've done this one just in matte. These are 4mm beads to match the 4mm matte black seed beads that I used on that. So that's why the template's in there. You'll have your beads that are used in this and your ear wires and your black fire line. You will have an array of just several templates, small template stencils to use. This is a nice introduction class to using stencils for this. And then your pastels are in a little packet here, and they will be on a piece of sandpaper, fine grit, like 220, and rubbed off like that as like a little to-go palette. Things you may want to supply, you may want a beading needle. A lot of times I'll hand stitch through small projects like this, but if you want a beading needle, that's great. And then something to cut the fire line. This is a fishing line wire cutter, because basically fire line is fishing wire, and I got this one on Amazon. Or, you know, one of my go-tos is trying to pick it up, an X-Acto knife blade, or fancier, a thread zapper. This one's by Beadsmith. What you'll need is the white domed mold, the white Shrinkets domed mold to mold our little flower bead. And then we're going to be doing flat shrinking, and I like to use a container to contain my flat pieces. Then you're going to want a heat gun. Now the colors that I'm using are going to be a purple, I think you're going to have majestic purple in yours, and then black. Those are the inks that are supplied, and then a white, and those are all permanent inks. That's just for your information. You will be able to see that on the label. So I think that's it. Let's get started. The first thing we're going to do is apply our pastels. So here's our little pastel palette. I'm going to zoom back a little bit so you can see. And I've got the sanded surface up. This is the shiny side over here, and the sanded surface is facing up on the shrink plastic. And we're going to do a variegated color on this. We're going to come from green and go down to yellow. So I've got some on my finger, and I'm rubbing it in nicely. And these are Prisma by Prisma color, and I'm going to show you the cover of that box, the lid of that box. It's over here to the side. I'll pull it out. I'm using the new pastel brands. And the best price on those are at Dick Blick. And they come in stick form, and then you just rub them off onto that. So these are a dry pastel. You don't want to use oil pastels on shrink plastic. So then we're going to blend over in here to the orange. That snoring you hear in the background is I am dog sitting a sweet French bulldog. And he's so sweet. Her name is Sweetums. So the one thing you want to be careful with pastels is your fingers getting all over the place. So you want to work with, I'm going to grab a towel and wet ones work well too. So I've got lots of scrap paper, but just here to flip around. But just having a wet towel to wipe my fingers on is nice too. So I'm going to flip this over. Got these guys done. And then on this one here, I'm going to vary from yellow at the top up here. I'm on the sanded side. Down to pink. And with the pastels, if I rub it nicely into the surface, I don't worry about spray fixing it because it's pretty, you notice I'm wiping that and nothing's coming off. It's pretty well embedded into the tooth of it. Now for my flowers on the sanded side, I'm just going with my pink because they're so small. I think I'm gonna make sure that I've got enough green on here. And okay, now I'm moving my pastels out of the way, moving my finished pieces out of the way, my pastel dust away. So now I'm ready to do my stenciling. I've cleaned away all of my powder from the pastels, and I'm still on my sanded side. And now we're going to get a stencil out with an overall pattern. I like this one here, and I like this one here. Either one or the other will be in your kit. And also to clean stencils or ink off of your pieces, you can buy more expensive stencil cleaner or just use rubbing alcohol. Most everybody has this in their house, so we'll use this to clean our dauber out. Or right after you've used all of these things, your little dauber, whatever, warm soap and water, even with permanent ink. You know, unless you've let it set up, you know, well overnight. But usually, you know, after I'm done, if I clean it up with warm soap and water and really, you know, after I've cleaned it, really pounce out a lot of the moisture out of it. I'm ready to use it for the next one, so I'm going to show you how you can get away with one dauber on this project by working light to dark on it. So obviously light to dark, the first color we're going to do is our white. And here our pastels are on our sanded side, but we're going to put our white on this piece on our back side so that we can get this effect right here. And I'm going to use a background pattern that, will be kind of an overall pattern like so. Any kind of a pattern I like on this background that has that type of, I don't call it, I call it a linear pattern versus a tile motif. So, and this one here was kind of a fish scale pattern. So I just want a variation on this. So I'm coming in here and pouncing on this. And you want to hold this firmly. You don't want your pattern to shift. Once I get that down, I can peek under there and see how that looks. And that's on the shiny side. And then I do this. This is an important step. I blot off any excess ink. This type of linear, and it happens to be a crosshatch pattern. Doesn't matter how you lay it out on your piece, and if you're using these stencils that came in your kit for a future piece, you could, like, say, put white this way and then let it dry and switch it over this way and put another color and build up layers that way. So once again, under here, tap up any excess. And that was on my shiny side. Now I'm going to take these two little teardrops, and they're right here. And I'm going to be putting the ink on the matte side here. And I'm going to use that same pattern. But see, I could pick, like on here, because they're so tiny, or I can pick where I want that pattern. So I'm going to put it kind of in an intersecting way so that I get this overall pattern all over it. See where the patterns all intersect? And there you can see where they're all intersecting. I'll dap that in a minute. And I want these to match. So and I said I did this on the frosted side, the same side that I had the pastels on. And on this one here, you'll see I did a little ray pattern. Okay. So here these are, in case, there they are. And we're blotting those. And then letting them dry a bit. So now I have my white. Just going to pour a little bit of this into the cap. And take, paper towel, wipe it off. And as I said, dry it really well. Whoops, dried it so well it popped right out. So I'm getting all the moisture out of that. Getting it nice and dry. Covering this up. Gonna get a paper towel to make sure that I get it nice and dry. And then I'm coming in with my Majestic Violet. I've got these flipped over. This is my sanded side where I put my pastels, and my white was on my shiny side. And I'm coming in with this overall tile pattern. As I said, you'll have either one of these tile patterns. That's what I like here. I'm going to line that up so it's on the bottom and rather centered. And come in here. That ink is really fresh. So I want to make sure that I'm not going to be putting too much on. Being rather careful with that. And I'm going to blot. Come in here, line that up carefully again. There, and blot. Make sure you're blotting on clean areas. I'm going to blot again. Now doggies are barking. Quiet, guys. Blotting again. There, you see why I want to blot? I want to make sure that I've got my excess off. Don't expect your heat gun to do all your drying of your ink for it. You want to get the most juiciest part of it. Then I'm going to let those dry. And I'm cleaning out my, we're going to black now, so I'm not that concerned about my dauber being like, it wasn't going from white to purple that could go to pale pastel purple. Getting that cleaned out. And if you were doing this at home, you have the time to really let your dauber, you may have more daubers at home in different colors. Your kit has one dauber in it, and I'm trying to show you how, look, I've almost got the color off of there, how you can use one dauber on this. Okay. Put these guys up here to dry. Off and out of the way, bringing over paper, making sure my fingers are clean so that I don't get anything on this next piece that I'm gonna do, which is our ivory white one. And these are the ivory that I've sprayed them with Krylon glitter shimmer gold for you. So next in your kit, you'll have a little decorative piece, a medallion style not shrink plastic stencil. So, you know, it can be something like this or a section. We're only going to use a section of it. You can see where I use these here. And I'll pick this one here. And I'm going to place it right down here at the tip and line up the top and the bottom with this. And I'm only going to be stenciling right down here and fading off. And I've got my black out. Looks like I've got two daubers here, and I switched them. Doesn't matter which one I use. I'm applying it really heavy layers, enough more down by the tip, and then just gradually layering out to nothing there. See? That. So this is what these lining that up to the center. I mean, these little templates work great in overall on flower patterns, but I like to also use them this way. Think of these two. This could be a tip of a flower petal. Right there. So we're going to fade out to nothing there and keep our emphasis right down in here. And look and see if we've got general look that we want. And there we are with those two medallions, dangles. So what we have, we did white and purple here, and we're letting this dry nicely. We did, and then pastels and white, and then just pastels, and then the ivory with misting of Krylon gold glitter shimmer on my white. So that's Krylon. It's a spray paint. And I used gold and I misted it just lightly. Now I like the shimmer. I mean, I like the glitter shimmer versus the blast, because a blast will just give you too much gold on it. So that's what I misted over my white shrink plastic when I made these, and these are the sanded and shiny. So these guys are ready for me to shrink down, and I'm going to clean up and wash my fingers so that when I'm playing with these, I have nice clean hands. So the first thing I'm going to do is this little bottom swag. And here's my black beading line. Let me give myself about that much. Looks like about 10 inches. And take a little aqua bead and a little black bead, and you'll have aqua or little purple sequins to pick from. Going to place that in the center. put a green bead on it. So I bypassed seed bead so it works as a stopper there. Come through my sequin. And come down. Here's the little hole in this. And come down right there. Now I have 2 tails, and I'm going to give myself some length. That'll be my tie-off tail right there. And this will be where I make my swag. Now, this is where you can pick up your peach beads by themselves. And we're going to count out how many I chose to use on this. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23. So between, so 23, 24. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, and let's go 24. See how that looks. Yeah, 24 is, and let's go 23. So I'm coming through the back side of that hole. I've got my sweet little swag. I'm adding my sequin. And my little green bead. And my tiny 15 black matte Delica. These little tiny cylinder beads are called Delica beads. And I'm not going to bring that. I bypass that. And I bring the tail down through here. And down through all my holes out to the other side. Got it there. Now I just want to go through the sequin. And go through the sequin. And a hole in the back. Pull that all tight. And then give myself a tiny gap because I want to take this tail and run it all the way back through. And this is where, if you do want to put a needle on, you can. I'm coming all the way through my beads. Running along that path. Running along that path. And along that path. And then what I'm going to do is tighten everything up. Tighten, tighten, tighten. There, got everything tight and nice and tight. And now I'm going to tie a knot and pull that tight. Now I'm going to tie a surgeon's knot. So that's over, cross the two lines, take the tail, go under, take the tail, go under again, and pull, and end with another knot. You can do a surgeon's knot here again. And you can cut your lines. You can cut them with your X-Acto knife blade, or you can cut them with your cutters, whatever you feel comfortable doing. And there you have your little swag on that, okay? And you would do exactly the same for this one. So now we're going to assemble the top part. Now all of our stringing goes through the second hole in this, because this hole right here is for our ear wire. And this is specially designed so that when this hangs, you see it face forward on your face and not to the side like most earrings that you'd see that have this type of design. You see them from the side, and I've designed this so that you can see it from the front. Doggies are getting frisky. No, you be good. So I'm cutting about that same amount again. I need, well, probably 7 inches. I don't need that much for this. Now I have a choice on this. I can flip this over and have it both shiny, or I can have it matte. And I'm going to keep it matte and have the white faced up. So, and you'll have extra sequins so you can play. I'm going to use my purple ones. And I used turquoise one back there, or purple one back there. Okay, here I go. I'm going to place a tiny black seed bead on there. Bypass. Got purple all over my fingers from our stamping. And then a green. Green, and then purple, onto my little sequin. Two holes through. And then all the way through both strings, all the way through my Shrinkit bead. So cute. And then through this guy, through the holes on this guy, through the bottom hole on this guy, bottom hole. And there's only one hole on this one. Okay. Then we separate our lines and put a sequin on. We can put a green bead on. and a black delica. We bypass that black delica and go with our string down through the green bead and down through the sequin. And we will pull all those snug. So cute. We'll pull all these snug. We're going to let our knot pulling pull it even snugger. So there I go, and I'm pulling really snug and making sure it's secure, very secure. And doing a surgeon's knot back around and around, going under the sequin. Boy, that's tight. That's why it's always nice to have an X-Acto knife blade. There. We want it tight. And then one more knot. And I'm coming in here and cutting. And there I am. So cute. Now, so we want this to hang like so. So we're going to come along here, bring it along here, and there we've got our little cutie pie. Cutest little pair of earrings. So I want you to do the same thing for this one. I'm going to do this one off camera because there's no need to be redundant. And then I'll show you the duo.